Hello, hello, hello. So, today I wanted to have a conversation about profitability, and I don't know what order this conversation is going to go in, but I do have a couple of stuff that I want to touch on. So, today is Friday. Don't know what date it is. Oh, it's the 13th of June, and this week was actually I just processed my withdrawal today. And I realized this is my first 5k month on this current profit streak. And it's such a crazy thought to think that even after like 5+ years in this game, I'm now only making the amount that my friends have been making every single month consistently for years. And this depends on what frame you want to frame it at. That's a very negative frame, but it just goes, I guess that frame at least highlights the sheer gruel and slog we have to, very interesting adjectives, basically the graft we have to put in order to be able to extract money from the markets. And it doesn't have to be that long, it doesn't have to be 5 years by any means. For me it was literally 4.5 years, four-ish years before I started withdrawing money on a consistent basis. And that's what I want to touch on, but I'm going to roll a cigarette and get comfy. So, funny story about smoking. I quit smoking about 2 years ago, and the Airbnb that we moved into last month had a balcony. And I am a sucker for a balcony, it turns out. The smoking habit came back. It was also in the period where we were planning a big traveling trip, going to be traveling all the north of Peru, potentially onto Colombia. And trading had to fund all of it. And my back was against the wall. Okay, I need to earn X amount by here. And ended up actually doing really well in that stressful situation. But the stress and the balcony did lead me to buy a tobacco pouch. Oh, I do love a good ciggy though. Love a good ciggy. It's a little bit windy. There's a lot of background noise. I hope you're not picking it up. I think the microphone does the job. But it is Friday, so trading week will be closing. The markets will be closing in about 2 hours' time. And I actually took the week off. So I did 10% in the last 30 trading days and decided I was going to give myself a break. So I had this whole week to focus on the dashboard that I am releasing, or the latest version of the dashboard. So it's basically the dashboard that I use to trade, but I've been optimizing it for the data section recently, and I'm really, really, really happy with it. Doing a talk in a community on Saturday where I'll be presenting it for the first time, so really looking forward to that, getting some feedback. And just seeing if it makes sense to other people as much as it makes sense to me, or if it's intuitive, let's say. This week was full moon, and full moon for me is either I get floored or I'm just super, super, super high energy. And this was one of those ones where I was just absolutely floored. And last 3 days, just slept like 9-10 hours every night. And I could even sleep more. To be fair, I lie in bed until I feel like getting up. And that's one of the things. Like, that is genuinely, like, for me, every month I will either feel, as I said, low energy or high energy on the full moon. And those months where it's low energy, like, genuinely, if I don't sleep enough, I'm just fucked. And to put it plainly, and that isn't just me. Like, and women have their cycles, their monthly cycles. we're affected by the different energies that are going around. Like every month isn't the same, every day isn't the same, every week isn't the same. But in a traditional job, I would be forced to go in and act as if today was the same, and it just hurts me at my core that is the way that things are, that we don't acknowledge these cycles, or that there's no room for movement in normal society, let's say. It is one of my biggest pet peeves about today's world. Wind is coming from the opposite direction. So, profitability. So, on the dashboard, I was doing some writing today, just like some core fundamental pieces of theory, let's say, that I wanted to include in the dashboard. So the dashboard, it works off of, there's an input section where you do your analysis, etc. Then there's the data section where you do your review. But I wanted to pair it with something else that is just applicable to every trader, to every situation. And what I ended up writing about this morning was, let me actually take it back a little bit. So for me, before I was profitable, I viewed profitability as this mystical destination that I had to arrive at, that I would put in X amount of hours and eventually I would get there. Like I would pay my dues and then I would be rewarded with profitability. And really, it couldn't be further from the truth. And that is a belief that I think many of us as traders hold, is we think that we have to get there. We have to arrive at that destination and then we will be profitable. Realistically, the way that I became profitable was I decided to be profitable. And I know that sounds so simplistic and everything, but genuinely, it was like one of those look yourself in the mirror conversations, and it's like, come on bro, you're a fucking man now, you know what you need to do, just do it. And it really isn't somewhere that I had to get to. I didn't actually learn anything new, but that month I withdrew money from the market, and the next month, and the next month, and the next month, and I genuinely didn't learn anything new. And if anything, I unlearned a lot of stuff. I hadn't looked at a chart in months. I hadn't watched a trading video in months. I'm talking like 8 months here. I hadn't watched any trading material, and that's when I became profitable. It wasn't from learning more or adding stuff in. It was genuinely from just deciding, look, I know enough. I already know enough to be profitable. Why am I not? Just writing down, okay, what are the things that I'm doing? Okay, I'm not actually letting my trades run to stop loss. Okay, so if I keep doing that, will I ever actually be profitable? Clear answer is no. And I had thought of myself as somewhat intelligent, and it turns out that I was doing something so fundamentally broken and expecting for it to work, and it was just backwards. And I was never going to be profitable if I didn't hold my trades. So that's one thing. I was okay, let me stop doing that. Let me win, lose or draw. Once I place a trade, I'm just holding it till it hits my stop loss or take profit. Didn't have any break-even rule, just all in. And I encountered losses. To be honest, in my first month, I didn't actually have any losses. So I passed my first phase 1 of coming back to trading, and I had no losses, 100% win rate. But I was welcoming the losses. Like I had a super deep stop loss. Like I'm talking like I was hitting like 1-to-1s on a weekly expansion, because I just wanted to just place a trade and hold it and not be worried about the stop loss. And I was so focused on risk to reward before that I wasn't. because my risk to reward before was, I was trying to optimize it so much and make it as good as possible. I was just always close to stop loss. I was just fucking freaking out. And then I was like, okay, if I close it here, even if it's a couple of pips, I'm still saving a couple of £100, let's say. So then the fix for that for me was just big ass deep stop loss. And then I don't even have to think about it. I'm literally trading a 1-to-1 almost. Some of the trades were literally 1-to-1s, but 100% win rate. And then I passed a challenge like that. I was like, holy shit, like risk reward isn't everything. Next point. That then for me allowed me to be able to hold the trades. So reducing my risk to reward, deepening my stop loss was a big thing for me. But it was the actual holding the trades was the issue. So the risk to reward was the cure, but the issue was not holding the trades. So I guess what I'd say to you is, if you are finding yourself closing trades, even if it's sometimes as it's pulling back because you don't want to take a full loss, you genuinely will never be consistent until you stop that. Like, it's simple as that. Stop that. And I speak to some of the traders I'm working with, and that is exactly what the issue is. And it's black and white. It's not that there is no grey in this equation. It's black or white. You have to hold the trades to stop loss or take profit. Because there's so many fundamental reasons to it, but a huge one is what I realized was that my data just wasn't accurate because I wasn't holding the trades. So I wasn't holding to take profit, so I wasn't maximizing my edge, let's say. I wasn't letting my edge play out. And I wasn't actually even allowing some of my winners to run on, because they'd come close to my stop loss and I'd close it, etc. So if you're doing that, stop it today, like literally today. What really helped me was genuinely like welcoming the loss, like standing there like fucking hit my stop loss. And price then eventually did hit my stop loss, and I was like, fucking hell, it's not bad at all. And because I had said to myself in my dashboard, I put a section that after I enter the trade, I just write to myself, win, lose or draw, if this trade's hit my stop loss, I would hit this 10 out of 10 times. And then that to me then was like letting myself off the hook. I was like, okay, it's already a win as long as I hold it. Because this is my strategy, this is my setup, I am following my plan. So it's not actually a loss, even if the P&L is a loss, if that makes sense. And that for me was like such an unlock. As simple as it sounds, it was like I didn't want to be wrong. That was a big thing for me. I didn't want to be wrong because I felt like a failure. That simple sentence of just writing that, I will hit this trade again tomorrow if it presents, even if it loses, just completely freed up all of this needing to be right, because then I was already right by following the plan. So yeah, that was another super simple thing that helped. And the rest of it just comes down to identifying, okay, what are the actions of a profitable trader, and then I'm going to do that. And that is what I did. And then what I realized was how important the data was. Before I'd recorded the data, I had my Excel spreadsheet, recorded it maybe, let's say, 70% of the time, accurately, maybe fucking 20% of the time. I was always making my stop loss smaller and fucking saying I won more, just lying to myself, just complete and utter bullshit, just to feed the ego, just to make myself feel better. So when I looked at my data, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a good trader, not making any money. And once I actually started inputting the raw, real data, then I was like, okay, I can actually study this and see where am I going wrong. Okay, I can see 9 times, or let's say 7, 8 times out of 10, price doesn't come anywhere near my stop loss. So then I gradually reduced my stop loss. And it gave me the confidence to actually do that and be at peace with it, because my data told me. I didn't decide, okay, fucking 35 pip stop loss is too big. My data showed me that price isn't coming really past 20 pips most of the time. So then my results then improved. But I'm getting a little bit off tangent here. What I really wanted to touch on and just hit home is the fact that profitability isn't a destination, that the chances are that you already know more than enough to be profitable, but it's just deciding to do those actions. We'll take another toke and round this off. That line sounds overly simplistic, that profitability isn't a destination, it's a decision, but that is the fundamentalness. That is the underlying, how would you describe it? Like, that is trading. That is profitability. It isn't somewhere you get to. It's every single day we either choose to do the actions that a profitable trader does, or we don't. So it's not like we are inherently profitable or unprofitable. We just, some days we show up and we actually do what we're supposed to do. We follow our plan, we record our data. On that day, we're profitable. The next day, we can enter early, go against our plan. That day, we are unprofitable, but it doesn't mean that we're an unprofitable trader. It's just we chose the unprofitable actions that day. Tomorrow, we then have the clean slate option to show up and do the actions of a profitable trader again. And that's literally all profitability is. It's just showing up and choosing to do the actions of a profitable trader more than we don't. Because there is days that I don't do the actions of a profitable trader, but I know now that it's a decision. So then the next day I just choose to be profitable, and then at the end of the month I am profitable and I withdraw money. And yeah, that's it, folks. But yeah, man, that's really it. Like, I want that to be as empowering of a realization for you as it was for me, because I realized I was already there. I didn't have to go anywhere. I basically just gave myself permission to be profitable. And there's a whole lot of limiting beliefs and things that we also have to work through, like mantras, just wake up in the morning, play subconscious beliefs, play things that we want to imprint into our subconscious. First 5 minutes of the day, last 5 minutes before we go to sleep, our brainwaves are slower, so we can actually imprint stuff that we want our subconscious to believe more in those times. Same way in meditative states, same thing. As long as our brainwaves are slow, or I like to use the analogy like the ogre guarding the bridge is asleep. So then we can actually cross the bridge and imprint stuff into our psyche that we want to believe. So doing that alongside the actions of being a profitable trader, that is the whole formula. Top that off with showing up, 1, on time, 2, in a state where we're actually in a high performance state. So if we're going to play a football game, if we're going to show up and do something that we need to perform well on, do an exam, let's say, we want to be going to bed earlier. We want to be showing up on time. We want to be showing up with a clear head, no brain fog, or at least, again, most of the time, doing that more than we don't do that. Because of course, some days I show up and I'm super brain fog. my brain is super foggy, and I've gone to bed late the night before. But I'm aware of that. I'm tracking it, and I'm thinking, okay, I did that today. Let me show up tomorrow and fix that. And it's just a constant process every single day just to show up and do the things that we need to do. My ciggy has gone out. So. The last thing I guess I would say is that what I used to think was that more information is the answer, that I will find out something and then that will then help my trading. I've actually seen a positive correlation since I've stopped watching trading videos and actually started studying the market myself. again, it comes back to the whole empowerment thing, not looking for some external thing to grant us access to be profitable, the right system or anything like that. It's that we know we can flip a coin. If we apply proper risk management, just go long or short depending on the coin flip, that we will be profitable. That in its sense is reducing everything down to a mechanical system. The entry is the coin flip. If it's heads, we go long. If it's tails, we go short. We can then apply risk management to that, record the data, and then start optimizing based on that. So I guess the last thing I'd say is just that we want to have a mechanical system. We want to have the rules and be clear on what those rules are. If they're ambiguous, our results will be ambiguous. If there's inconsistency in when we're entering, we're doing this sometimes, we're doing that sometimes, it's going to be a direct correlation to our results. So if we want to have a consistent income from the markets, we have to be doing a consistent consistent input equals consistent output. So we have to get super clear on what those rules are. That's a completely other topic for another day. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to touch on. It's Friday. Have a beautiful weekend whenever you're watching this, and yeah, lots of love. Ciao. Gonna finish my ciggy now.